Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode. As I said, we're talking about Instagram and how to elevate your brand using that social media platform. And I'm so excited to have Natalie Supez with me today of SNS Creative. Natalie, welcome. I am so pumped.
Yay! Thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a fun episode.
You know what? I totally agree. And I can't wait to learn from you because your Instagram account has almost 32,000 followers. So we're going to get to that and find out how you did that because that's a dream for
No.
many people who are in business and who are trying so hard to grow their Instagram. So
Well,
we're
it's
going to
not all
find
it's
out.
chalked up to be. So, yeah, so we will talk about that.
Well, I can't wait to learn how you did that. But I want to learn a little bit about you first because you didn't always do this. This was
No.
something that just you kind of fell into too, the same way I kind of fell into it. Can you share like how you ended up here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's we could talk about that for 15 hours, but I will
Yeah.
try to give a quick story. Long story short, but I went to university for marketing and international business, while doing hairstyling, while doing all these other things, and then went straight from university into a sales career in the corporate world and climbed the corporate ladder. I always say I made billion-dollar companies, millions of dollars. Was really great at sales. I love person-to-person connection. And the reason I did hairstyling and the reason I did all of these other things in my past was because I love helping people. So I was great at what I did. I was great at sales because I would help my clients get what they needed.
Mm.
But I always had this dream to be a business owner. And I literally remember sitting in my living room like 6 years ago, just like, if someone just told me what to do, I could be successful at it. But I don't know what to do. Like, how do I start? I was like thinking about starting a t-shirt company and like all these things, but I'm not passionate about that. I don't know what to do. And so I started actually a health and fitness company. It was called For the Health. And I have a chronic illness, Crohn's disease. So it kind of morphed into helping women with the same disease as me to get their fitness on track. But then I got pregnant right before the world shut down in 2019, in December
Oh,
of
wow.
2019. Yeah, and, my first trimester was not the greatest, so I was really sick, and I just stopped all of my side business stuff, and I actually and in the time when I was in sales, I was selling a lot of health and safety, so chemicals, masks, that kinda stuff right when the pandemic hit, so I went from, working a pretty cushy sales job to working 12-hour days and not leaving my desk and being pregnant, so my side business stopped. And I worked the corporate job up until I had my baby girl in July of 2021? 2020. Oh my gosh, how do I forget our
It'd be a
birthday?
really long
Lord
pregnancy
almighty.
if you got pregnant in 2019 and had her in 2021. That's a really
I'm
long.
like, "Wait, when did I have her?" Yeah, so as soon as I had her, obviously I was on maternity leave. I'm in Canada, so I have 12 to 18 months of maternity leave, and about
Wow.
yeah, no, I know it is we're very lucky. So
Yeah.
about 6 months in, after a quite a bout of postpartum anxiety, and it's quite a blur, I started wanting to do things again. So the whole time I was posting on my Instagram, I had already grown my Instagram, which we can talk about a little bit later, but I was kind of using it as a side hustle, doing the mommy blogger type sponsored posts and just sharing my life. And then I had businesses approach me to run their social media, and it literally felt like a light bulb moment, like, oh my gosh, my artistic side, my hairstyling, my painting, all of that kind of, my designing, the love for online, and then my business, my marketing, my sales can just like be all one business. Like, are you kidding me? And so I started running a few of my friends' business accounts, and one of my girlfriends, she has a well, now it's an aesthetics bar, but she was doing lashes and things like that. She made an extra 4 grand in like the first week of me taking over her Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah, so she got some students and some other things, and it was like her DMs were blowing up, her books were full, and I was like, "Okay, so yeah, I am very good at this." So
Yeah. Yeah.
I took a course, and that was in June-ish of 2021, and we are now, February. of 2022. So it hasn't been that long, but we've grown to an agency. We have 5 people, many, many clients, and we do things a little differently than other social media management agencies because of my experience with the corporate world and stuff like that. So it has been a wild ride to get here, but yeah, I feel like it was, the right timing. The universe kind of put it at my feet when I was ready to go all in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
that's long
funny
story
how
short.
yeah, but it's funny how that happens,
Yeah.
that, that when the timing is right, just everything falls into place. You're not fighting anything. It's not a
No,
battle. It's just almost like, wow, like you just put your
it was a
hand out
gift.
and it appears. And that's
Yeah.
when you know that you're on the right path and
Yeah,
that
when it just
it's
feels
so meant.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes, it does, and I totally understand what you're saying because 'cause I'm like, I don't know how I got here, but
Right.
wasn't my plan, it was somebody else's, but I'm totally cool with it because nothing I
Exactly.
did worked.
Exactly, nothing I did worked. Yeah, I tried it all. I did all the MLM. I did all of the
Yes,
you know,
same,
I tried to, like,
same.
hop on the backs of my friends who are starting business. I'm like, "Let me be your, like," whatever. I was the VP of a multi-million dollar company in marketing, but it just never worked because it wasn't my own.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is something different, and even taking on those first clients, like, when you
Mm.
were doing your own and you were posting on your own Instagram, and then you had somebody reach out to you, a friend who said, "Can you help me with my business?" It's still different, or was it different for you? Because it's felt different to me. Because now you have to step into their space and their brand.
And, like, I feel my husband calls me, like, a Chandler. He like the chameleon, or was it Chandler or Homer Simpson? No, he calls me Homer Simpson because I have so many I've had I've been a party bus host, I've been a hairstylist, I've been a skincare specialist, sales, marketing, like, anything you can probably think of, I've done. I've done
Yeah,
MLM, all of those things. So I feel like I've been in so many crazy different roles in my life that I can chameleon into being that person, that brand. So when I
yeah.
took over her page, it felt so natural. It felt like, "Oh, this is my business. Let me make sure it hits their goals," you know? So it was yeah, it was different in the sense that, like, I was home watching my baby and now I was really having to manage DMs and, all the
Mhm.
engagement and stuff like that, but it was really exciting. It gave me purpose.
Oh, I love that. No, I couldn't help but notice that you are really only on Instagram. You have a Facebook group,
Right.
but you are not actively anywhere else. I didn't see you on LinkedIn or
Well,
I
I'm
don't know if
on
you're on
LinkedIn.
Clubhouse. Are
I
you?
am on
Okay.
LinkedIn, but you might have looked because I'm officially no longer at my corporate job, so I've just been switching everything over recently. I am on LinkedIn, not actively though. I don't post
Okay.
anything there. I don't post anywhere pretty much other than Instagram and my podcast.
Oh, so why? Just out of curiosity, like what led you to that? And my
Right.
second question is, do you ever feel pulled like you should be somewhere else or do
Okay.
your yeah, okay.
Yes. Yes. So the answer to the why is honestly just time. And I feel like the more that we brought on clients and that I brought on employees and that I'm no longer like a creator anymore, I'm now a CEO of a company. And so I'm managing my employees, I'm managing our clients. I do the overall strategy for all of our clients. So I'm really in there still. And then I make time to record a podcast. And after that, I'm trying to figure out how my team can take over the rest, to be honest. And so Instagram has never felt like a job to me or a chore or anything. Even then, I don't post regularly even like I should be. Like I tell my clients to, I don't follow my own advice on my own Instagram page anymore. And when we talk about that, I'll tell you why a little bit on my personal Instagram, but it always has been a journal to me, like a diary, and that's how I grew to the numbers that I grew to. But, my goal was to start a YouTube channel in, February or March of this year so that we can take the audio and make it into a podcast and then make it into posts and then hopefully maybe on LinkedIn or something, but Instagram just feels like my home.
Home just feels
Yeah,
like home. So let's
yeah.
talk about how you grew your following.
Yeah.
And I know you said you started as a mommy blogger and
Actually, I started, my health and fitness journey on Instagram in 2011.
Okay, I saw
So
that post and I'm like, when did I start on Instagram? And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find
and
it because my
it takes
posts
a
are
long time, but you can scroll all the way back to my first, like, weight loss posts, 'cause
yeah.
I remember finding Instagram back in 2011 looking for memes and, like, inspiration to lose weight, and that is how it started, and it grew over time. I kind of went on and off, but I always was on, looking at other people, and, in 2018 is when I got really serious about my health and my chronic illness. And so I started sharing that very authentically in 2018. And this was a different world on Instagram. In 2018, you could just grow and grow and grow and grow. And I was gaining thousands a day by sharing my
Wow.
authentic journey. And tried some different strategies like the follow unfollow thing and some things like that that did help grow to the numbers I am. But back then it was easy. And the follow unfollow technique worked back then because it was like putting your billboard in front of other people. And the way that I did it was I would follow people who had Crohn's, and then I would share my journey and my real authentic, like, I had an accident today going to work, or like, this sucks and I have IV PTSD, and things no one else was talking about on Instagram. Like, I
Right.
was journaling there because I don't like journaling. I don't like writing, my hand hurts.
Yeah.
So I was
Right.
journaling on Instagram and just using some techniques to gain the proper audience and really niching down and not trying to talk to everybody. And so that is how I grew. And then I continued just sharing my journey. So after that, I kind of moved away from fitness a little bit, and then I got pregnant and shared about that, and then started sharing about my daughter and the mommy blogger stuff. And because of my following, was able to do sponsored posts, and that's really fun. And now I'm slowly again transitioning and morphing into posting about my family still, and myself and my journal, but still but incorporating the business side of things too.
So what has changed since 2018 for those listening that
Yeah.
is like, well, what's so different? Why did it change? What
Well,
happened?
there was like a algorithm apocalypse. I don't know what it was, like 2019. I think in 2019, I believe, or 2020, where you just couldn't grow. Like, no matter what you did, no matter what you tried, and the hashtags weren't working, nothing was working. Instagram changed a lot of things. So follow and follow was absolutely the opposite of working anymore. You could get banned for doing it.
Yeah.
Um, hashtags could work, but you'd have to go very viral to grow quickly. Then now we do have a technique that works, which is reels, but that means how much time do you have? I mean, you could grow really fast right now, no problem. But do you
Right.
have time to batch reels? And my answer right now is no. So,
Right.
yeah,
Well, so you do reels
I
and
do.
do you do reels for your clients as well or mainly just
Uh,
for you?
we're we're morphing into it because it is the best way to grow right now. So we're finding ways, because it's a newer service, I think, that social media managers are providing. We're finding ways that we can help clients, because I always say to them, we don't have your face. I wish we could, digitally do that,
Right.
but we don't. So we're offering where we give them, a list of 10 ideas that go and coincide with their social media content, and then they just need to record it. We'll put the audio, we'll put the, fun little taglines, all that. Because sadly, Reels is very glitchy, and it takes, like, I just recorded a reel this week, last week, about Reels and them being glitchy, and it glitched like 3 times. I had to re-record it, and I was just like, this is, like, it took me over an hour for one reel. Who has the time, But
Right.
it is necessary, and it's fun also. So that's
It
how I incorporate it into my business. Myself, I record them when I have inspiration.
yeah, that's a great point to do it when you have inspiration.
Yeah.
And for me, I like doing them after I have my hair appointment. So,
Right?
like, tomorrow I have a hair appointment. So,
Good
I will
idea.
be taking video clips afterwards and
That's a good
saving
idea.
up.
I love that. I love that.
So, let's talk about if there is somebody listening, which I'm sure there are many people wondering, how do I grow my Instagram? How
Yeah.
do I get that following, and is that following as important, like that big following? Is it the number? Is it the quality? Like, what is it? So how do we elevate our brands on Insta?
Yeah. So first of all, having 31,000 followers is a detriment to me versus a positive. I had to start a new Instagram page for my business because at 31,000 followers, they only show your content to a certain small percentage. And if that percentage doesn't interact, then they're not going to show it to anyone else. So my engagement just plummeted because I am switching, and a lot of the followers have like Crohn's disease, things like that. So sometimes having a big number is the opposite of, a good thing. On my brand page, we get way more interaction of our target audience, even though we have 1,500 followers. So I always tell my clients, like, the follower number, unless you're planning on being an influencer your full-time job, the follower number is not what you should be even looking at. Obviously, you want it to be growing instead of going down, because that's
Yeah.
just telling you something. But you should be looking at, are you having conversations in the DM with your target audience? Are people answering your stories? Are you creating quality content and giving out information that your audience wants to hear?
That sounds so easy,
It
right? So
sounds
how do
easy.
you ho and I agree with you, and I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, conversations in the DM, right? We're doing that. But how do you get them to do that?
Right.
How do you make that happen?
Yeah, so I think the first part is to have a strategy. Is to take a little bit of a step back, and a lot of people just post the day of. They need to post, so they post, and they're like, I have to post 5 days a week. Well, having a strategy kind of takes that pressure off. And if you post 3 days a week, but you're consistent and you post 3 days a week all the time, you're going to get better engagement over time than if you post 5, 0, 5, 2, 1. Like, people don't know what they're going to get, so then the algorithm doesn't know what it's going to get, so it's not going to show your things to anyone. And the algorithm is smart in the sense that it reads your bio, it reads your type of content, your hashtags, and then it shows it to the people that need to see it, especially when it comes to reels. So once it gets to know your pattern, you're gonna get more engagement. But where to start is take a step back and think, what are 5 pillars of information that I like to give? So maybe one is personal stories about yourself, because everyone's nosy on Instagram. So you need to, if you want to start a business and you don't think you need photos of yourself, then you probably, good luck. I mean, everyone can do things outside of the box, but people want to know about what you're doing and why. So maybe personal stories, maybe something that's motivational and gets people to do some kind of action. Maybe it's educational that makes you an expert, and you pick these 5 pillars, and you're going to always create content about these 5. So when you sit down at the computer, you're like, okay, I'm going to create an inspirational one now. I'm going to do a story one. And then you have those. So you have the strategy behind what types of content, and then you can put together a hashtag strategy, which is a whole another thing in of itself, but essentially put together 5 groups of hashtags that work well. And
Mhm.
then make sure that your content is at least, especially for a brand. So this is different if you want to be an influencer, if you're just, you're posting for fun. But if you're a brand, if you have a company, aesthetically pleasing is important in my opinion. Make sure you know your hex codes, have 3 or 4 colors that you pop in everywhere that looks nice when someone comes to your page. So you have
Mhm.
your hex codes, you have your strategy, your pillars, you have your hashtags, and then you just show up on Instagram. So let's say you're posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When you post your first post, you want to post in a time that you can actually be on Instagram for, let's say, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And when you post, go to your competitors' pages and interact with people who have liked their stories, or who have not their stories, sorry, who have liked their posts,
Mhm.
because those people like their content and they're active on Instagram. So go comment on their last post, go comment on their story. Spend 15 minutes going into hashtags where your audience might live, not the hashtags you use, but the hashtags you think your target audience would use, and go interact with the newest posts and tell them, make sure it never sounds like you copy pasted it. So someone has a photo with them and their husband on Valentine's Day, say, wow, I love that mushroom soup that you're eating. Like, that's my favorite, or whatever. And have real conversations for 15 minutes. And then anyone who's started following you, as long as so this is a whole nother thing, but make sure your bio is optimized as well. So they know right when they come to your page what you do. And then anyone who's followed you, send them an authentic message, like a welcome message, not something that you can absolutely copy paste it, but don't set up an automatic bot, because the people will know the second they click the follow button, if they get something, they're not going to reply. But if you go and do this 3 times a week where you send everyone who's followed you a little message that says, "Hey, thank you." I mean, feel free to follow my Instagram page, you'll get one. But it's something like, "Hey, thank you so much for following. It really does mean so much to me. You know, I would love to know what's your favorite color of lipstick?" Whatever
Yeah.
matches your brand. That's going to give them a yes or no answer. So, or I mean, even yes or no, or something quick, something they don't have to think about. Don't ask them like, "Have you ever had childhood trauma?" Like, no one's gonna reply to you. But if, for instance, like, we ask, like, "Have you ever hired a social media manager?" or "Do you have a business?" Something along those lines. Your only goal in doing this welcome message is to get them to reply. Once they reply, Instagram sees that now you've had a person-to-person conversation, and they're actually gonna show your content to them in the top of the stories. Your stories will come to the top, and your posts will come to the top. So, now that you've done that, you wanna make sure you have a story every day. So within 24 hours, you should always have a story so someone can watch it. Your bio is really great. You have a photo of yourself smiling for your cover photo, and you have some highlights that people can kind of binge watch who you are and what you do. And then you keep doing that consistently, and you will grow your business online. It sounds like a lot, but once you get into the groove of the things, it can be, a little easier.
You dropped so many, like, I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes," and in the show notes, I'm gonna give you step by step so that
Yes.
you can look at everything that you've just shared, because you shared so many good pieces of information that
Thank you.
you I agree completely. You were talking, and you were talking about the algorithm and how smart the algorithm is, and in my mind, I'm thinking, think of the algorithm as your target client, your
Yeah,
ideal
your
client.
friend. Mhm.
And right, think of it that way instead of like, "Oh, the algorithm," right?
Right.
Because sometimes we're like, we wanna fight it, we wanna hack it, we
Literally.
wanna right? Because but if you think of it as your ideal client and speak to that algorithm, it will learn that, and like you
Yes,
said, and do those other pieces as well, and it will work for you instead
exactly,
of
and that's why
against you.
reels go viral even with you if you don't use any hashtags, because the algorithm knows who you are. If I
Yeah.
mean, we're joking ourselves if we don't think that our phone knows everything about us, like, have
Right?
you ever thought about something and you got an ad? Like, this happens to me all the time where I've never said the words out loud, and I, like, go to Google to search something and it comes up, and I'm like, "Do you have a chip in my brain? Like, why do you know that I was gonna search that? Like, I don't like that." But they know
Yes.
exactly, your habits. So if you can make it clear to them who they need to be showing your content to, then it makes it easier for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, if you make it sound really easy of all these things that you need to do, and we both know that it's not that easy, but it
Yeah.
can be. It can be easier than what a lot of people make it. And I think when even listening to you and I'm like, "Yeah, girl, yes, like you're dead on, you're on." You're like you're giving them everything right now, which is so cool. I know there's somebody listening going, "Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Like all I
Right.
heard was Charlie Brown's teacher. I don't even know where to begin." Right? Because it can be so overwhelming. So how are some ways that you can make it easier when it comes to creating that content? Are
Yeah.
there any ways to simplify that?
And I think, to be honest, that's why you and I exist, is because when business owners start, they have to do that. Because if you want to grow a business, you don't have the extra income to hire a social media manager, and you should be focusing on growing your business. And so you can use all that time to create content. But when you get to a level, typically I find around 100K a year, you're really hustling, and you're managing your clients and whatever it is, your business. You don't have the time to sit down and create 3, 4, or 5 posts a week and do your hashtag strategy and all of that kind of stuff. So what happens is what happens to me. Even like, we're getting my team to start working on my social, but my socials went down to like one post a week or 3 weeks, because it becomes the back burner. But Instagram has become the Google. So when people want to hire you, they're going to your Instagram. And if your business doesn't look professional, if you're not posting content, that can lose you, that you're literally leaving money on the table. So I think it's like an impasse, or, a teeter totter where you get to a certain point in business and you need help. And hiring experts like us that are doing this day in and out can really help you grow your business and grow your brand. Money makes
Right.
money. But
Right.
if you're just starting out and you don't have that extra funds to find someone that can help you and do it all for you, that's a cool thing, right? Like even having my team do it for me, it's cool to get them to know my brand voice, know my, and just see the stories popping up. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. Great
Yeah.
job, team. But if you're not at that point, I would say consistency is the number one thing. So if you think you can only post once a week, start with once a week. And if you hate reels and you hate, let's say you hate the newsfeed posts or you hate static posts, then just try to hop on stories and see how consistent you can be on stories. Like find a part in Instagram. There's many parts: live, stories, reels, feed posts, whatever it is. Find something that you can be consistent at. It's like, I don't know if you've ever read the book Atomic Habits, but if you can make one
No, I
habit,
have not.
no,
Ye
it's a
no, I
really good book.
haven't. Then I'm like, "Wait,
Really
do I have
good book.
that?" No, I've got so many habit books.
I know. It's a great book, but if you couple a habit onto a habit, so like in the morning, if you have coffee every morning and you add taking your vitamins, then it's going to be easy because now you have these two, they go coincide together. You're already doing one, add the other. So I say start that way. If you feel comfortable posting a story a day or a story once a week, do that every Monday morning when you have coffee. And then once you get used to that, maybe every Monday morning you have coffee, you make a story and you make a post. And then maybe you can sit down and write that strategy and that can help you. And so just finding even on that list, that all those things that I said, look at it and which one sounds easiest to you and do that
Mhm.
first. You don't have to do everything at once. And then go from there. And it takes small steps at a time. And whatever it is your business is, that can kind of dictate which way to go as well. If you're a brick and mortar, you might be posting a little bit different than, if you're selling online services, whatever it is, and interacting with your clientele, even if it's just starting the engagement. Maybe you don't want to be creating content and maybe you do need help with someone to do that, but you can't afford it yet. Well, then start engaging. Go start going to other people's pages and having conversations.
Great advice with all of that, absolutely. And, I even if you are creating content, it's so important to engage, and I say it all the
No matter
time that
what.
social media is social, and so many times I see people just post something and then, like, they ghost it, and maybe they have it scheduled, I don't really know, but you pointed that out earlier saying, when it does post, make sure that you've got that 15, 30 minute, whatever that is,
Yeah.
that block of time available so then you can start engaging. And I truly believe so many people miss that
Mhm.
they just assume it's like a billboard, like, here it
Right.
is, here's my sign, you're going to drive by and you're going to see it, and that doesn't quite happen that
Yeah.
way.
Well,
It
and I
doesn't.
always tell people, think about your habits when you're on Instagram, right? Because it's funny how business owners different, like they compartmentalize
Yes.
compartmentalize their habits on Instagram and their business. So like during the day, I'm a business owner, I post business posts, but then at night I'm scrolling and whatever. Well, take a moment to think, like, what are you tagging, what are you tapping, what stops you in your feet to read on Instagram, and then
Mhm.
start creating more of that. Save those posts, and then when you're ready to create for your business, use that same tagline or that hook or type of hook. Obviously, don't copy anyone's
Right.
content,
Right.
but
Right.
see if those things work for you, and always keep in mind what you're doing on Instagram.
Right. And we talked about this a little bit offline, and we really didn't talk about it now, but one thing that you can do is also just repurpose the content
Yeah.
that you already have. Don't always try to recreate the wheel,
Yeah,
because we have a ton of content at our fingertips and we overlook it because it's common sense to us. So
exactly.
we think that, it's common sense to everybody else, or they've seen it, or, well, I just talked about that. Nobody wants to hear about it again. They
I
didn't
noticed this
see
with my Right,
it.
yeah. I noticed with this with my clients, like, sometimes if they've been with us for over a year, we start repurposing some of their old content, and a lot of the times they're like, "Oh, I already posted about that." And I'm like, "You did 12 months ago and it performed really, really well. So let's post about it again." And a lot of people are like, "Well, but everyone's seen it." Well, I mean, if someone saw a post of yours 12 months ago, I can guarantee you they don't remember. And even if they remember while they're reading it, they're not going to comment like, "Hey, you posted this 12 months ago." You know what I mean? Like, can anyone who's listening remember a post they read 12 months ago? I No, no
Yeah.
one can. So even if you've posted 6 months ago, 3 months ago, take a look at your analytic reports and see what's performing well and use that content. If you don't want to copy paste exact caption, then take some pieces of it and talk about something
Mhm.
similar, maybe put a different photo. But like you said, even repurposing it for other platforms. So if you really despise Instagram, but you like podcasting, or you're good at YouTube, or you're good at Facebook, have someone or even yourself just take it and put it over there in a different way, maybe change it up a little, but you can do that. And I feel like a lot of people feel like I need to be showing up as a different person on every platform, and it's just not possible.
No, it's not. Natalie, thank you so much for coming on. I
Thank you.
love talking to you. I'm so glad that we connected. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to all your great posts.
Oh, thank you.
Before we go, since you are a podcaster too, and you can listen to Natalie's podcast in the show notes, there's a link to her website as well as her Instagram accounts and her podcast. But one question, Natalie, your favorite podcaster?
Ooh, good question. Right now, you know what's funny? First of all, I need to have you on our podcast. So we would love to
Okay.
have you on our podcast, and then we can have your listeners can come listen to that show over there and get your expertise on Instagram because that's going to be so fun. But my favorite podcaster is so funny because for a long time I was listening to a lot of business podcasts, things like that. But right now it's Shalene Johnson.
Yes,
Shalene Johnson. Yeah. Is that her name?
Charlene, right?
Char
Charlene, I think
Yeah,
she's
I
an
think
R
it's
in there.
Shalene. Shalene, it's Shalene
Maybe,
for sure.
yes, yes,
And
and
I
she's
don't actually listen to her business podcast. I listen to her Friday episodes, which is just like her gossip episodes. And she talks all about her life and like things that's going on. And it's just like I feel like she's like one of my close friends. So I listen
I
to her.
love
It's my
it.
favorite podcast right now.
That's so funny. I've gotten her emails for years, and she's one of those people that I don't pay close attention to, but you can't avoid, like,
No, I
and
just love
her
her.
TikToks are
Oh
hysterical
my
'cause she's
gosh,
talking
she's
about her
so good.
ADHD a lot, and
Yes.
she's
She's
just so funny. She's real. She keeps it authentic,
Yes. She's
and
real
yeah,
and she's real, but she does so many things and she's so
yeah.
successful, which just like it's something I look up to, but she still talks about, like how she can't make it on time anywhere to save her life. So her husband lies to her what time things are, and she hired people on her team to lie to her what time the meetings are. I'm like, "Yes, I love
I love
you."
it. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna have to listen to her Friday podcast
Yes.
now. And
So good.
she does have a ton of information, and
She
it is
gives a
really good.
lot of free information too on how to
She
do
does.
Instagram and all things, yeah.
She does. Well, thank you
Thank
again,
you.
Natalie. Loved having you on, and I can't wait for this, whatever this is, to continue because I totally
Yes.
love your vibe. This is
Thank
fun.
you so much. This was so fun.
All right, everybody. I will catch you next week. We'll see ya.